Hey, welcome back to the channel. Hey, today I'm finally gotten brave enough to go ahead and build the struts to hold the wings up. I've got the dihedral set exactly the way I want it, and my only concerns are, since I've watched the videos and I figured out, by watching the videos and watching or looking at the pictures and stuff on, I think it was the Stoll that showed it, where to measure and drill and clamp. So there's no big mystery there. But the thing is, the only thing I'm really worried about is the angle on this, to make sure that I don't have to stress it a lot to get it hooked up. I did talk to Roger about making a shim for these if they wobble too much. I don't know what too much is. I think mine is, it's a very thin shim. So, and to do that, I had to do a lot of sanding on aluminum to get those shims together. I probably won't talk about that much. So anyway, yeah, we're going to start cutting and drilling. So you want to see about that? Stick around. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is just measure out these 53 right here. It's 53 millimeters on both ends. So I'm just going to go lay that out a minute. Well, the first thing I did was inspected this and seen which end was the nicest. And I'm going to start down here, and that end's marked up more, so that's the end I'm going to cut off. So. Well, it shows it in the picture to be in about 1 millimeter past this. I thought it was to stick out a little bit. If this fits on yours a certain way and better than the other, make sure you mark what the top is and the top of this so that you don't get it put in backwards. So if I put that in 1 millimeter, there's the end. That's 1 millimeter. And now it says to be 12 millimeters from the end of this. I think I'll drill those first before I mark them, just in case they move a hair. I can split the difference and it'll still look nicer. Yeah, that flat spot on mine, if I go in 53 millimeters, it's definitely not going to be in the center of that flat spot, which means my bolt will be forward and the head won't be on the center of the curve. And it just says right in here on this one to go to the center of the flat area. So that's going to move my line back a couple millimeters. No big deal, but it'll work a lot better that way, I believe. Mark clearly where the end is. Don't just put a dot. And they clearly showed to do that. So and then I'm going to, this will be where I'll click it up to, and then I'll look through this hole to find center. All right, I'm going to clamp that in place. Well, that moves quite easy. All right, I can see both sides of my line. That was a lot better. There they isn't. If yours is like mine, the throw of it isn't very deep. I don't know exactly what it is. The first setup I had didn't work very good, so I come up with a new one. over there temporary. It's nice and level now. It's level this way. I can put the bolt through with a washer and a castle nut so it won't hurt the aluminum, and I can use this as my clamp. Well, the last size I ended up using was E, and it snaps in just perfect. Very happy. And the line back here looks really good. And the head of the now that I moved it back slightly, I'm in that center of the curve. All right, well, this temporary jig is not perfect, and I did have to cut a notch in it right here so that the head of that bolt, when I squeezed it down to keep it tight, when I slid it back to do this hole, it wouldn't fit. So I did that off camera, and that worked out really good. This isn't taped in, it's just got tape over it. This is actually screwed to it. So that's my jig. Now I've got to just do the other side and get this thing measured out and cut the ends off. The grip coming through. I think I'm going to mark it and see where it's coming through. All right, this is squeezed up because the other two are snug. And as you can see, the whole outer piece is in thread. I'm not sure why they give too short a hole. You would think you'd want the grip to go through at least to the washer, at least according to construction standards, and this doesn't do that. Well, I got the two bottoms done, and they come out really good. Anyway, I gotta figure out the length now to cut these babies off. I put a small piece of string in this, and knotted it and melded the knot together so it won't slip. And there's hardly any stretch in anything this length right here. And I'm going to put it around a bolt on here to get my measurement. And to overlap it a little, so there's a couple millimeters, it's 81 inches. Doesn't matter how many inches it really is, we're just using it as a reference. Of course, there's about 5 inches down there that don't take, but 81. And all I'm gonna do is drop this bolt in this, where that's gonna hook. And a marker. $81 it is. Now measure twice, cut once, right? Go through the whole process again. 81. Feel pretty confident with that. Now I just gotta draw on where I want to cut it and come up with my technique. I've got a metal saw over there, but that doesn't cut perfectly square. I gotta come up with a way because I really want to just chop it one time, sand it down, and be done. The way I decided to do it out here on this end was I went back 53, then 55, and I kind of split the difference. I marked this on the center of this outer bracket. I marked the center so I could see it like you do through the holes, and laid it up there and moved this around after I put the shim in I made down here. I went ahead and shimmed it because it wanted to go back and forth a little. And once I got that right, where it wasn't chucking around at all, this really liked to set between the two, but I went closer to the purple, as you can see. And I pushed this unclamped way over to the side, drilled my 3 little pilot holes, and put it back on until they lined up under each one, clamped it, and drilled these in, and now it's there. So I have to take that off, and after I clamp it, because I don't want it to rotate at all. That's the big thing, I guess, because you know, it's a circle, it isn't square. And you know, I might be off just a hair. So I'm gonna clamp it up nice and tight and then try to drill those out and snug one down. That's the ticket. Well, it's the next day now, and the string method, which just was a string put through that little hole where nails usually hook, I recommend it. It worked really well. I have no reason to fear it. The only thing is to make sure it's down on the shank, the grip portion. One time I put it on there and it stayed on the head of the bolt, which would have changed the measurement. So just like anything else, just the devil's in the details. All right, this one is 80, and I want to go over an 8, 80 and 7/8. This one's a little different. I double checked the dihedral again, and this one's just a hair different. 2 millimeters different over here. So 80 and 7/8. Okay, always double measure. Make sure it's on the shank. Kind of a crucial measurement. 80, 79, 80, and 7/8. All right. $80 and 7/8. Little 80 grit long cord. Log block works better. This line is really important because that's what we're going to see through here a lot of times. Make sure it's square. I lay that back there so that it holds it. And once it's square to the table, it leaves a really nice mark right in the center. Maybe you can see that or not. I used blue last time and it was a little tough to see. Okay, it's rinse and repeat because the other side worked so good enough for me. What I'm doing right now is I've got it marked from this edge out 53 and 56. And I can see the little mark there where it wants to touch. If I move it back to 53, because of the angle down there, that might change where it hits. Might hit on the curve of this piece in a little different spot. It's hard to explain. I still like it just before the purple one, before 56. So somewhere in the 55, 54 range, it wants to hit better. Yeah, back further is still better. So what I did is just push this off to the side and make sure it's really out of the way. And the reason I didn't drill these down there is because it might change where it hits and how I like the way it fits. How this angle of this piece, I don't know if that makes any sense, but it just seems to, it looks better. So I'm going to slide that off to the side all the way, and I'm going to drill these three just this side of the purple. Okay, now that'll give me a witness spot to be able to see and clamp this off. On Zenith's, sorry, I think I saw the clamping here on Zenith's photo guides page under Builder's Resources. Yeah, I'm going to end up putting my center line just to the right of that hole. That's where it hits the curve better on this piece that's hooked to the plane. Yeah, it might have been better at 54. All right, time to get the clamps. I think what worked best last time, or didn't work, I had to reclamp it and then clamp it again down there. So I want to undo this clamp. So I'm going to put it here. And the idea is to do this one and bolt that up tight and then do these two. Nobody's here to help me. So now that I got the bolts out on each end, there's not enough clearance for it to shove both ways, one way and then come out. So the wing has to be lifted. But the danger is if I lift it too high, this will fall out and maybe bend that end. So what I'm going to do is tying this off, but I don't want this to get tension put on it. I want it to stay up pretty tight. And rope will give me that. When I lift the wing, this will just want to slide up and down. All right, it's time to lift it. It's time to do the first hole. I did have to move that clamp because it was in the way up here, but I clamped this before I took that off, of course, and everything looks good. The crucial thing here is it's easy to level it this way. It's hard to level it this way, and that's crucial for where they're going to come out on the other end. Because we're centered. All right. Yeah, the hardest part about this is resetting up for the next one. It probably would work just fine with just the bolt in there, but I want it snugged up anyway. That's hitting the center now of that hole. Now we just got to see if we're level. We are. Well, what do you know? Oh, it fits good. I can't wait to stick a nut on it and look and see if those two seem to line up. It's when you have three of them you can really tell. Okay, this is the bottom side, of course, because of the nuts. As you can see, that's only because of the level. So it's crucial to get this level. And the top, of course, you could see where you mark those. But if it goes in on a little bit of an angle because that's not level, then it comes out like this. See if I can show you this one. Yep, there. Come on, focus. There, that's my worst one. So that one bugs me, but it's not like the head is not sitting flush on a curve like that. The washer's going to take up some slack too on the curve. And luckily, thankfully, it was on top because these were where we started. And that was all because the bubble must not have been perfectly level, or it came out of level as I was drilling a little. Anyway, that's it. All right, what's the top and what's the bottom? I actually have to look because I could spin it around and use either end. All right, that's the round one. Oh wow, that one goes in just fine with that up. Now that it's on both, I can let the box down. Or maybe I should just put this one in. No, this one had no tension or anything. The angle was perfect. Thanks, Zenith. Now that one on the other side, I did have to set it in just a little bit. Oh. Well, I must have got the angle right if I could do it with one hand. So clamping it does make all the difference, folks. They've built this with the technology and the pre-drilling hole thing. A couple times I wished I could put my holes where I wanted them, just to maybe take a tiny bit of twist out of the tail, I think is one of the issues. You know, you could have 1 degree. But just know that if you do have that little bit of twist, I think if you just, I wish I would have done this to mine. Mine's within tolerances and it'll be great. But if you put it on a table and clearance drill maybe half of it, or the whole row, just clearance drill it just enough to give it a little bit of twist back. As long as your holes ain't oversized, you're good to go. And these kits are just so accurate when it comes to the way they drill them out. When I X measure and like putting these in for angles and stuff like that, everything just works. Everything works. It's amazing. I mean, you have to do your due diligence to get things right. Well, guess what? I get to take the ladders out from underneath. I don't know about you, but that's a mile mark right there. It's starting to really look like an airplane. Double check. Bolts are in. Well, I hate to go check my dehedral, but I'm sure there was a lot of slack. It came down some when I took the pressure off, you could tell. Okay, moment of truth. See where I gotta put this. Right there. Right there on the top skin. So right there's 85. And here's the other side. I call that 85. Wow, happy with that. Woo. Oh. I think end the video right here. I'm just gonna get a cup of coffee and sit back and look at it for a bit. And go inside and probably work on making this video. See you guys.